Hello everyone, welcome to Probably Fine. Story time. So I come home about 2 weeks ago and came home to a really hot house and I realized my HVAC was not running. So after 4 p.m. where I live, everything's after hours. I called and called, finally got an HVAC technician out. $200 later, the fella tells me my blower motor's bad. He says, let me go out and get you a quote. I'm like, okay, cool. So he tinkers inside of where my HVAC is, runs upstairs, and the HVAC starts blowing. I was like, sir, you just saved me money. He said, well, I unplugged the Molex off of your blower motor to see what model you have so I could give you a quote. And it started running. So it runs. Call me back if it goes out. He said, however, sir, and I looked at me like this, very stern. He said, that's a 14-year-old unit. I'd be careful how much money you put into that. Now, obviously, he's trying to upsell me and sell me an entirely new HVAC system because of a blower motor. So I note the man's advice, and first instinct is to just let the AC run. It's running fine. We'll see how long that blower motor will last me. Well, 5 days later, my fiance and her kids are over, and they're visiting for the weekend. And lo and behold, we're sitting up there watching a movie. I start sweating. And guys, I keep my house cold, okay, on purpose. I'm a caveman, a Yeti. I get hot. And I look at her and I'm like, I should not be sweating right now, and I don't hear the air conditioner. So I run my ass down here, open this up, unplug that Molex, plug it back in, it fires right up, and I'm like, yes. And then it stops an hour later again. Came down here, did the same thing again, unplugged the Molex, plug it back in, nothing. Shorted the green and red wires on the thermostat. It fired right up, turned right off, nothing. Now, the fancy AI in my cell phone that everybody else has tells me it's a sure sign that the HVAC motor is bad, the blower motor is bad. So, instead of calling this astute young HVAC technician back, I took his advice. I decided to spend as little as I could on this because he quoted me $2,000 to fix it. Now, I got on eBay, bought a new blower motor. Now, you don't have to buy a new blower motor. My blower is the Genteq X13, okay? I believe the 13. I may be wrong. I'll put it in the description. Specifically for mine, the part number is 5SME39HXL184, and I'll show you here. Okay, so I'm going to replace my blower motor. You're going to watch me do it. This is easy. Listen, I'm an idiot on the internet. I'm not an HVAC technician. I'm nobody special. I'm just a homeowner taking his HVAC technician's advice and saving some money. Okay, so as you can see, I've opened up the closet. I've got some tools here already. I've already taken the cover off of my HVAC. Here's my blower. My cover was just for self-tappers. Oh, are you coming down? Everybody say, come here. Come on. Everybody say hi to the dog. Hi, dog. Yay! Blower motor's here. Okay, so I had 4 self-tapping screws that came out, and they were, on my specific unit, they are 8mm. Okay, regular 8mm socket. And let me bring you in here closer. Let me get your teeth in here a little bit. Just come on in. Come on. Okay, so hopefully you can see all right. So again, like I said, my blower motor's here. Here's my electrical circuit here. Yours is probably similar if you're looking at the same motor. Here's the Molex here. You won't be messing with that other than unplugging it. But if you look at the blue and white, you got to make sure that you keep the blue and white plugged in where they belong in their specific unit, 2 and 4, okay? That's over here. Right here. As you can see, the Molex is on the left, that white plug. And then the red plug with the white wire is the white, of course, and that's on 4, and the one below it is the blue one, and that is on 2. So we're going to make sure that when we put the new motor in, it will look just like that. Okay, so also, if you have an HVAC unit that's the motor is blowing, but it's still not blowing air, you can look in here. If any of this is frosted over, these are your coils. If any of this is frosted over, Air might have trouble getting through, so you can unplug your unit or turn the breakers off, to your unit. Let it thaw out, use a hairdryer to blow it out, whatever you want to do. That might fix your issue too. Also, make sure you're replacing your filter tray over here. So let me go ahead and start unplugging some stuff. I'm going to try to get you set up where you can see and where I can work, because this is kind of a small space, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, folks, I want to start by unplugging my Molex, which is here. Like that, okay? Now, if you haven't been in here before and done this yourself, you may want to get a picture before you tear anything out. That way, when you put it back in, it will look identical to your picture. Okay, that's just something I do whenever I'm tearing stuff apart. Next, we'll take out the white one, and we'll take out the blue one. Pin this up out of the way. A bit of a safety note before we go too far. You're going to want to make sure your breakers are off. These are already off. Make sure your breakers are off. You'll shock the shit out of yourself if your breakers are on. Before I go too much farther, just take note of where your ground wire was. My ground wire was here, which is this connector. I want to make sure that it goes back in the exact same spot when I'm done. Ground wire was there. So we're getting ready to pull the blower motor assembly out. It's as simple as pulling straight towards you. The entire unit is stuck on little rails. You may have seen it when they drop down. You can see way back in the back there, the blower motor. Get you in there. Blower motor is just sitting on some slots, some rails back there that it slides into. So when we put it back in, we're going to make sure we are careful of those rails. But for now, we're just trying to get it out. So let me put you back here where you belong, out of my way. We're just going to grab a hold of the whole unit, slide it, being sure to watch our wires. We don't want to pinch or fray or cut our wires because there's sharp metal moving in here. This is your blower assembly, okay? So the access is to the back of the blower motor here. Here is your blower assembly. So that it comes out that easy. All right, next thing we're going to do is get the blower out of the assembly. Let me get you down here. All right, folks, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to loosen that set screw right there. Okay, I've already taken this blower motor out once to practice, but something else that you'll want to do is go get some Emory Cloth, Emory Cloth or sandpaper, and you're going to want to sand off all the rust on this shaft. There'll be rust, surface rust here. You just sand it off until it's clean, because that'll slide right out nice and easy now. So now that we have that set screw loose, don't take it out, just loose. Note that the set screw lines up with the flats on the shaft. So there's a flat on the shaft. You want your set screw engaging on that flat. All right, so next we'll flip the unit up. Okay, so we're going to take the motor mount, which is these 3 big bolts, out. They are 10 millimeters. They come out, they're captured, they're captive inside of this sleeve and washer assembly. You'll just set them off to the side here. So while I'm getting this motor out, as you can see, it lifted out pretty easy. So this assembly is just held on by this unit here. That's an 11 on my particular unit. Okay, we're loose. So these individual legs aren't captive inside of this assembly, so it can be a little janky getting it put back together. Don't worry, we'll get through it. Okay, so with this unit, this old unit, again, in case I wasn't clear, I had a mark here where that interfaced just like that. So I'm going to, yes, my daughter bedazzles my tools. I'm going to measure how far. It looks like we got right at 2 inches of distance. 2 inches. We'll call it 2 inches. There's a little bit of play here. It's pretty forgiving. So we want this to sit up 2 inches from the back of this motor. Okay. So let's get this motor up here and get this band and the motor mounts on. So the motor mounts will sit like this. You want to make sure that your plugs are facing the same direction as where you took them out. So I labeled my unit plugs, and I'm going to try to get it pretty close. It doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but you want your plugs accessible, because your HVAC technician that put in your unit may not have provided enough slack for the motor to move at all. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Mine's pretty good, but I'm going to pre-position these anyways so that those those plugs are pretty close to where they belong. Okay, so this is kind of a pain in the butt. You got 3 of these that you got to feed in. I've seen guys on the internet take these motors out and leave the mount in situ right there, but I tried that, and for the life of me, I could not get these things to line up. So again, your unit may be different than mine in that regard. And I'm going to call that pretty much good. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just needs to be probably fine. Okay, my extra light just died, so sorry if the rest of the video is a little darker than it should be. We're working on a shoestring budget here. Okay. So I've got this pretty close to 2 inches with my bedazzled Bauer tape measure. I highly recommended modification to your Bauer tape measure. Next step, I want to line my plugs back up with the label that I created. And also, you have to make sure that your shaft goes back down into the blower motor housing, which is down there. Your shaft goes in that little hole. It's like HVAC birds and the bees. Now, when you're tightening these, you don't want to go too tight. You only want to do like 1 or 2 UGGs with the impact gun, okay? Don't strip it. Do not strip it. So what I'm looking for here, again, putting my nut, my set screw on my flat. I'd have it hand tight right now, and I'm going to give this a spin, and I'm going to listen for interference. I don't hear any grinding. I don't hear any squealing. I don't hear any complaining. Perfect. So we'll stop it and tighten it. Now you could use any wrench that would fit this little square nut, but in my case, I'm just going to use my vice grips. I already have them handy. Okay, that's not going anywhere. That's on the flat. So we're good to go to put this unit back into my heater. Okay, before I put this heater blower motor back in, remember, we have, and it's going to be hard for you to see because my light died, but we have a lip here and a lip on the other side. You're going to slide your blower motor with your labels facing towards you, just like it was when you took it out. Labels facing towards you. These lips on both sides are going to go up over those lips inside of there. And that by itself will hold the blower motor in place for you to do the rest of your assembly. It's a little finicky, but it's not terribly hard to get it in. It's already in. I'm going to begin by attaching that crossbar to my blower motor, remembering my ground. using my 8mm socket. Give it a couple duggas. Dug, dug, that's it. Just kiss it. You don't need to be mean to it. Okay, next we're going to line up these two holes, and we're going to pre-position our sheet screws. Oh, for the love of fucking Christmas. And it wouldn't be a DIY project if I didn't drop a sheet screw all the way down on the bottom of the freaking HVAC. But I got it. We're in. Got one there. Back you up just a little bit here. You're too close. You're too close, okay? One here. One here. One in. I gave those ones too many duggas because they deserved it. Okay, next. Plug in our Molex. Ah, thanks. Thank you, eagle-eyed viewer. I forgot my ground. I don't know what I'd do without you. Thank you so much for reminding me. You might graduate from holding the flashlight someday. It is hotter than Lee Iacocca's nutsack down here. Next, we plug in our Molex. Again, you probably won't be able to see back there because the light is dead. Well, we have it plugged in. Well, I'll try to get you a peek in there. Okay, we are plugged in. Okay, I've turned that on, and while that turns on, and we hopefully hear the blower motor start soon, I'll go ahead and run you through this unit. So this is where the Molex plugs in. You're really not going to have to worry about this, but it does say CLGN, and there's a blank on top. It'll be in this orientation inside of your unit. Then here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 right here. 2, that's where we put the blue one. 3 is blank. 4, that's where we put the white one. 5 is blank. These are your motor speeds. These control how fast the motor blows on low and high setting. In my case specifically, I'm just sticking with what the manufacturer used because I'm kind of an idiot. So I figured I'd come up and show you how hot it is in my house. That's right. 98 degrees. Sunshine after the rain. Okay, so we should be starting in about 30 seconds. I will cut to when we have some action. All right, folks, you hear that? That is a functioning blower motor. 98 degrees, fellas. Even down here in my basement, it's probably 85, 88. Wild. Worst time of the year for me to lose AC for sure. Okay, so a quick talk about these Genteq X13 motors. Okay, so Genteq with a Q. Here, with a Q because they're special. They do not want you repairing your own circuit boards. Generally what goes wrong with these units is either the capacitors or the, what's the term? Thermal resistor, I think. Basically it's a resistor that detects heat or whatever, I don't know. Look at the science up yourself. But those units go bad, right? And the thermal resistor and the capacitor are only like $1 parts. Unfortunately with Genteq, you may not be able to see this. Let me get behind the camera so I can see if you can see it. They place their circuit board inside of some kind of black rubber shit. Okay, black rubber, I guess potting material is what you would call it. So the average consumer can't just dive in and fix the circuit board. You can replace the whole computer unit, but from Genteq, they're like $300 to $500 just for the freaking computer. And then if you're brave, you can follow some DIYs on the internet about cutting off specific parts of that potting material. But be careful because if you rip it all off, you can rip out microprocessors and good luck getting that crap back in there. So do what you can handle. I chose this route. This motor shipped to my house, albeit I went without AC for an entire week and the hottest week of the year because I'm stubborn. And I took my HVAC technician's advice and I spent as little money as possible. Bought a whole motor. I bought a refurbished motor off of eBay. $184 to my door. I will leave a link to the eBay store in the description. The guys really took care of me. I believe it's called Chill Bros out of Florida. So thanks, Chill Bros out of Florida. This part came with a 1-year warranty. I didn't read the warranty terms. I don't know if installing it yourself voids the warranty. I really don't care. I'll probably fix this one on my own just so I've got a spare. And if I fuck this one up, at least I've got something cool in my house. So I may make another video of that if I dive into that part of the world of fixing these motors. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. Tell me what I did do right and did do wrong. And I'll see you in the next one. Whew. Tell you what, $2,000 may have been worth having air conditioning for a week, but I'm a stubborn bastard. My goodness.